I'll always look at '08 really like with huge nostalgia because it was my first games. That's the moment that makes you an Olympian, which in track and field. Then 12, I knew what I was doing. Like I wasn't as nervous, I was prepared. I'm so proud because it was like the pinnacle of my career. Like I ran the fastest I ever ran at the highest level in sport. Like I really proved who I was as an athlete in that moment.
Ladies and gentlemen, Nick Symmonds, aka the Bison, in the building, man.
What's
Coming
up?
off a break on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm in the middle of a 6-month break.
Okay. So you set that time frame.
Yeah, I guess publicly I said I don't know how long this is going to be, but in the back of my mind, I had this big event that was 6 months away, and I was like, it'd be pretty cool if I just took a 6-month break.
I feel that.
I needed it, and 3-4 months in, and it's exactly what I needed.
Nice. So you had some burnout.
I keep going back in my mind, like, do I want to use the term burnout? And I don't think it's what I had.
Okay.
I've been burnt out before as a pro runner, and I ran pro for 12 years. I know burnout real well.
Yeah.
This was boredom.
Boredom.
Which I think there's a part of burnout that can be boredom. This was just pure boredom. I just made a video every week for 7 years. And for 6.5, I just loved it. I think I told you I was on other podcasts, and I'm like, I would do this for free. I love this so much. And then it got to a point where I wasn't like laying in bed. I used to lay in bed and I would just dream about video ideas. Like I couldn't shut my mind off. I was so excited about the next video.
Right.
And then I made all the videos that I wanted to make. And then I was laying in bed like, oh gosh, I have to think of another video idea. So I just kind of got bored with it. Like I'd made all the stuff I wanted to make.
Yeah.
I still love the idea of YouTube, and I still have some huge concepts that I want to make. But like the niche we were in, I did that, and I like put a bow on it, and then I needed to just take a break before I could come back and start creating again.
I feel that. There's only so much running you could do, right?
It was running, and it was lifting, and it was challenges, and it was so much fun. But like, I did it.
Yeah.
You know, and I've always been this way. Once I feel like I've accomplished what I set out to accomplish, then I'm over it, and I can't be bothered to continue with it. It doesn't mean I don't want to make YouTube videos anymore. It's just I don't want to make that kind of YouTube video anymore.
That. So that 6-month break is just a mental reset. Do you have a plan when you come back?
Yeah, and I'm already working on it. I just announced on YouTube in the community feature, I was like, guys, I'm not just slacking off. I'm working really hard. Next video drops July 1. And in some ways, this is a video I've been working on for 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a project I've been working on for 10 full years. And it all culminates in June. So I'll be filming it and dropping it July 1.
Is it running related?
No, it's mountaineering. So we talked a little bit about that. When I retired from running, I knew I had to throw myself into something else physical. Like I couldn't just stop. And so I set out two kind of simultaneous projects. One to climb to the top of all 50 states, and another to climb to the top of all continents. It's called the 7 Summits. And I've got 2 of the 7, and there's this kind of like interlapping point on Denali, the tallest mountain in Alaska, that happens to be, you know, the end of the 50 State High Points Challenge, but also one of the 7 summits. So that's what I've been training for.
Bang out both of them.
I'm going to bang out both, you know, tick off 2 different lists, and I don't know if I can climb this thing. I mean, it's a big ass mountain.
That one sounds tough just because it's in Alaska too. So
yeah,
it's
and
freezing.
it's super weather dependent. Like half the time you get to like 14,000 or 17,000 feet, and a storm rolls in, and you just sit in a tent for 7 days, and then you've got to pack yourself out.
7 days.
Yeah, or longer.
Wow.
It'll be 3 weeks on the mountain, and
it's a long time.
I've just always wanted to climb it, and I you know, I just turned 40, and I had this moment. I was like 39 and a half, and I'm like, I'm getting kind of old.
Little
like,
midlife crisis.
I think it was more a realization of there are so many things that I want to do in my life.
Yeah.
And some are going to be harder than others as I get older.
Right.
You know, like I can make money when I'm 50, 60, 70, but I can only climb some of these mountains like now.
True.
Like, it's going to get, I could climb Denali at 50, but it's going to be harder than climbing it at 40.
Because you're at the tail end of your athletic peak, right?
I think that I'm on the back end of that curve. Yeah, I'm telling you, I have a lot of tread worn on these tires. You know, so many miles that I think I've peaked, and I'm now just hanging on for dear life.
Yeah, you said you don't even run anymore, right?
I can't, man. I would give anything to go out and just hammer an hour.
So you physically can't do it?
No. Well, I could, but I wouldn't be able to walk for a week. My ankles and knees are so shot from 20 years of pro running, 20 years of competitive running, 12 as a pro.
And have you looked into stem cells or anything weird like that?
No, I'm like, I won't even take Tylenol.
Really?
I won't even take a multivitamin. I hate medicine.
No
I hate
supplements.
Nothing.
What?
Yeah.
Because there's got to be a ton of athletes on supplements.
Yeah, I mean, I was taking supplements when I was a pro. I took, caffeine is the best performance enhancing drug.
Is it for running?
For anything.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, for weightlifting, for maybe not for target shooting. They don't touch caffeine.
Yeah.
But like for explosive or endurance athletics, caffeine's a phenomenally effective performance enhancing drug, and it happens to be one of the ones that's legal. But as far as supplements goes, I took a multivitamin, I took some vitamin D, protein, carbohydrates, that kind of stuff, but nothing beyond that.
Interesting.
But I've always been really opposed to like medicine, not opposed to it like I believe in Western medicine.
Yeah.
I just think we overdo it.
For
So
sure.
I'm always really like, do I really need to be taking that? And I don't take any medicine, don't have any prescriptions, don't take any supplements.
Wow. But something in your case, I don't know if that can heal naturally, right?
I think that there will need to be a surgery on my left ankle at some point, and I probably have to get my knees done at some point.
Damn. Have you had surgeries before?
Yeah, I had double knee surgery in college to fix some plecectomies, and
Jeez.
I shot my left ankle full of PRP in 2016 trying to get ready for the games, but wasn't able to. It was just shot.
Oh, that was the trials you didn't qualify for, right?
That was I was qualified for the trials, but I pulled out at the trials because this left ankle wouldn't. It was just done.
And you were fast enough to make it, so
yeah.
that must have been really disappointing, right?
Yeah, I mean, I was always good about calling things as I saw it. I'm like, hey guys, I'm just not in shape for this one.
Yeah.
Or I'd say, guys, I have no reason not to win this race. I'm in great shape.
Yeah.
I was in such good shape in 2016. And then this ankle just gave out on me like 2 days before the trials.
And you killed it in 12.
I know.
Man.
I was bummed.
You could have medaled in 16 probably, right?
Who knows? Like it's track and field. I could just as easily have gotten tripped up and not
Right.
even made it. But so I was working pretty closely with a therapist at the time, and I'm like, how am I going to get past this? And he's like, how incredible that your body gave you 2 Olympic Games. He's like, yeah, you didn't get the 3rd, but your body held up for 12 freaking years.
Wow.
You needed it to hold up for 12 years and 2 more months, but for 12 years, it allowed you to do what you wanted to do and made it possible for me to see the world and race in 34 different countries. So, as today's theme seems to be gratitude, I was just like, gratitude. I'm so grateful for everything this body gave me and everything else that I'll be able to do with it. But no, Rio is not in the cards, apparently.
Yeah, that's a good mindset to have. Yeah, because some don't even get to 1 Olympics, so the fact you got 2 and almost a 3rd is
Yeah, I was lucky.
pretty good spot.
Yeah, I was durable. That was my special gift. I wasn't the fastest by any means, not the genetically most gifted. I mean, people looked at me and they're like, how in the world is this kid running that fast?
Yeah.
But I was super durable, so I could bang out 10 miles a day every day, and
Wow.
I did so for 20 years.
Dude, your races were so fun to watch. I
Thanks.
still remember the first time I saw you, and I was like, who is that guy? You just come the last 100
Everybody
meters.
always thought that because I was always in dead last, and then I'd turn it on in the last
Yeah,
200 meters. So
legendary.
it made it exciting for people, I
Yeah,
guess.
that 5th place finish at the 12 Olympics, you were in last, right?
For the entire race.
The
until
entire
the last
race.
100 meters, yeah.
By a good amount, too. It wasn't
Yeah.
even like you were right on them.
No, I was like, this is incredible. I can't believe I'm here. I hope I can not finish dead last.
Yeah.
I just wanted to pick off one person in the last 100 meters,
Yeah.
and I was
Picked
able
off,
to pick off
like-
a couple.
Yeah, few.
The race plan was to ultimately do a Dave Waddle like he did in 72
Yeah,
and
classic.
pick off everybody. But, in the world record race, no one was going to beat David Rudisha.
Was that the race you set it in?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So to be part of that race, again, being grateful.
Legendary.
Yeah, I didn't get a medal, but I got to be part of the world record race. Like,
Yeah.
Pretty big honor.
Insane. You think 140 will ever be broken in the 800?
Oh, yeah. At this point, I don't ever question anything. Like, humans and technology and everything are just coming so far. Like,
Right.
someone will break 140 in my lifetime. 100%
Yeah.
sure of it.
I thought David was going to do it,
I thought so too.
but he's done now, right?
Yeah, I mean, time gets us all, right?
Father time, man.
Yeah, can't beat him.
Yeah. Did you like the 08 Olympics better or 12?
It's a great question. I think I'll always look at 08 really like with huge nostalgia because it was my first games.
Yeah.
And like that's the moment that makes you an Olympian, which in track and field, it's like you're either an Olympian or no one's ever heard of you.
Right.
And you don't get paid anything.
Yeah.
Then 12, I knew what I was doing. Like I had already been through the games. Like I wasn't as nervous. I was prepared. And I'm proud. I'm so proud because it was like the pinnacle of my career. Like I ran the fastest I ever ran at the highest level in sport.
Right.
Like I really proved who I was as an athlete in that moment to myself.
Yeah.
But they both mean different things to me. I guess one I stamped myself as an Olympian, and the other one I proved
Yeah.
to myself who I can be as an athlete.
Yeah, you peaked at the perfect time.
Yeah.
at
What was
12.
your best event?
800.
Yeah,
but
it's
not
the
as
best
fast
event
as
in
you,
track
man.
and
But
field,
they say it's the hardest race. Do you agree with that?
Yes, maybe not physically, although it is incredibly challenging physically, but like strategically, it's the fastest event that breaks from lanes. So the way that you're pushing and shoving and jostling and positioning, it is a chess match. And it's why veterans tend to do better, because they've seen so much. It's why I bombed out of the semifinals in Beijing and, you know, made it to the finals and finished 5th in London. It just takes time to learn how to run that race.
It is a physical race. So what are the legal things you could do? Can you elbow people?
Oh, yeah, man.
Oh, you can?
I mean, the only thing you can do is like grab someone's jersey or shove them.
Okay.
But I'd be elbowing people. The Kenyans used to hate it because they, you know, I was a big guy, like as far as runners go. The bison. I was 165 pounds out there while my competitors were running at like 120, 130.
Twigs.
I just shove them all over the place. If I was boxed in and I need to move, I'd just give somebody a big shove.
Wow.
And they'd move and I'd make room. If you go back and watch the 2008 Olympic trials, that's how I got free, was just giving a
elbowing people.
Elbow. Yeah, but like I was a soccer player, I was a hockey player.
Yeah.
If I need to get somewhere, you know, I'm going to bump you and just be ready for that.
People say track is a physical sport, man, but
the 800 especially, man.
Here you are.
Yeah. Because you're just 8 guys moving around the track, and you know, you remember you never got boxed in because you're 6'5".
I was.
But if you're 5'9", 5'10", you're tucked into the rail. I got guys like you that are like, there's no way I'm gonna get around you unless I kind of like make space for myself.
Yeah, damn.
You ever watch Andrew Weeding? He's 6'5".
Yeah, he's a tall runner.
He had to run the entire race in lane 2.
I saw that
because he's so big. He can't tuck into the rail.
Yeah,
like there's no room for him. You know, get boxed in and tripped up. And
how much time do you think that adds if you ran it in lane 2?
It adds 2 meters per lap.
2 meters per lap.
So times 2 laps, that'd be 4 meters, quarter of a second.
Okay,
which doesn't sound like a lot, but
in an 800,
would have got me a medal if I found that quarter of a second.
Yeah, that's true, man.
Yeah.
Did you think you were going to medal at any point in either Olympics?
Not Beijing.
Okay.
Beijing, I was just like, I remember I was so nervous. I was talking to my sports psychologist, and I'm like, how am I going to walk into the bird's nest and like look up and there's 100,000 people in the stadium, and I know there's 1.5 billion people at home watching. He said, just put your head down, look at the track, and remember that track's 400 meters around, made of rubber, like every track you've ever run on, and that's your home.
Right.
And then I was like, yeah, I'm home. Like I'm just doing what I do every single day.
Good advice.
Yeah, it was really a good way of just reminding myself that like I had earned the right to be there,
right?
And that this was my home, and that I'm comfortable on a 400-meter flat track.
Yeah.
No matter what, no matter all the other stuff that doesn't matter. Like, just put it out of your head. Just do what you do. Go to your office. So that helped a lot. But I really thought I was going to medal in London. Right before the race, my coach came up to me, and he's this kind of like straight shooting British guy, Mark Rowan, and he said, "Fella, you're not going to win the gold medal today." He said, "No one is going to beat David. David is going to be not only the gold medalist, but he's also going to run the world record. So just get that out of your head. But you're going to be the silver medalist, and let me tell you how you're going to do it." And so we kind of walked through the race and how everyone was going to go out too hard chasing David, and then they would, you know, blow up in the last lap, and I would run my race perfect plus 2 second differential and reel in everybody on that last 200 meters.
Right.
But nobody died. Like only 2 people died, so I was only able to go from 8th to 5th instead of 8th to 2nd.
The adrenaline for people must have been the noise.
And that's why, you know, superhuman things are done in the Olympic Games. The amount of money that's on the line, the noise, the pressure, like people who have shown that they rise to the occasion. I mean, they're the ones standing on the line. There's 8 guys that have all shown that they can rise to the occasion.
Right.
And the adrenaline just pumping through your veins causes you to do crazy things.
You said money on the line. So how much money is on the line when you win?
Millions.
Really?
Oh yeah. When you consider what your federation's going to pay you, because I mean, America doesn't get paid. I think they get like 25 grand for a gold medal, but some federations pay out $1 million for a gold medal. Your sponsors, I'll bet you Nike. I mean, I can't speak to their contracts, but I know some medals are worth $1 million.
Holy crap!
In track and field, and then you're talking about potential sponsorship on the back end.
Right.
You're talking about the appearance fees that you're going to get.
Right.
I mean, some of these athletes are getting $25,000, $50,000, $100,000 appearance fees
just to show
up to Zurich Diamond League after the Olympics.
Wow.
You know, so all said and done, a gold medal is worth, I mean, conservatively $1 million.
I didn't know that because the Olympics themselves don't pay anything, right?
It's a really good question. I never won an Olympic medal. I think they do. I think they do have some money associated with them.
Okay.
But you know, you just add it up, and especially over the course of a lifetime. You know, especially if you get that medal while you're young, it could be worth millions and millions during the course of your career.
Interesting. But you didn't do track for money, right? That wasn't the main.
Yes and no. Okay. I didn't do it up until about the age of 30. And I always said this: I would do this job for free just because I want to see how fast I can get.
Right.
But then there came a point where I kind of like reached my peak, 28, 29. I really peaked. Ran my fastest time in the mile, ran my fastest time in the 800. And then I could see each season just getting a little bit slower. And at that point, I was kind of over it. You know, I talked about putting a bow on it. And I'm like, yeah, I saw what I could do. And then after that, it was a job.
I feel that.
But because in track and field especially, you get paid on like, you know, your resume, on your portfolio.
Yeah.
Like I was cashing checks at the age of 31, 32 that were 10 times what I cashed at 22 or 23.
Damn.
Even though I was running faster at 22 or 23, I had built up this resume and you know, was getting much bigger appearance fees. And so I felt I owed it to my younger self for having done the work, having come through the process to finally cash those checks.
Yeah.
And so I still trained hard. I mean, I really wanted to make the Rio team, but it was a job at that point more than like something I would have done for free.
I feel that. So it sounds similar to tennis where only the top like 1% actually make good money.
Yeah, very similar. It's exponential. You could be the fastest guy in the world and you're making millions. You could be the 8th fastest guy and you're living below the poverty line.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me. Yeah, because other sports, you get like a minimum guaranteed contract.
Nothing like that in track.
Wow. Nothing. And it's so individualized. It's not like you have anyone to hold you accountable.
Right, and the events are different. So if you're the number one, you could be the number 20 fastest guy in the 100 and still making good money. And you could be the number 1 women's hammer thrower and living below the poverty line. So
Really?
like there's events that get paid really well and there's events that don't get paid as well.
Which ones get paid the most, you think?
100, mile, marathon. That's where the money.
Marathon.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's where the big money is.
Okay.
There's still money in the 400 and the 800, the 5K, but the big money is in 100-mile marathon.
Interesting. I
And
wonder
I
why
wasn't
the
good at any
marathon-
of those.
I guess the marathon has a lot of sponsors.
It's well, because you can only run like 2 a year, really, maybe 3.
Okay.
And so they're training really hard and they're going for the appearance fees, right? So like if you're one of the best marathoners in the world, you're getting $250,000 just to show up.
Damn, just to show up.
Just to show up.
Win?
You don't even have to finish sometimes.
Yo,
you just gotta start. Yeah, you just gotta start.
New York Marathon. If you're watching this, I'm in.
Exactly.
Any races you still think about to this day that haunt you?
No, I'm like content.
You've come to
I'm
peace.
content. There were, when I retired, races that haunt me, and I still couldn't go back and watch some races.
Damn.
I was like, I can't watch that race. It just
Because of a tactical error,
or just like the 12 games. Like what could have been. I know I did everything possible. I have everything possible to
Did
medal.
you felt like you had energy left at the end?
No, nothing. I gave everything I had in that race. And it was a personal best by almost a full second. Like it was everything I had.
Yeah.
So I was at least at peace with that, but it still hurt to watch. No, I mean, I look back on it and I'm just like, what a great chapter in my life.
Nice.
You know, like I got to see the world. I made some money. I made some friends. I had such an incredible time doing. Again, how lucky for anyone out there, no matter what you're doing, whether it's sport or building a business or, you know, even your career, whatever it may be, to wake up and say, like, I look forward to my job on Monday, or I would do this for free. I love it so much. If you can find that, it's the holy grail in life.
Absolutely.
To get paid to do something you would do for free, it's like getting struck by lightning. And I feel like I've been struck twice now, once with running and then again with YouTubing.
Nice.
So I feel very, very lucky.
I love that. So you even like the training aspect of like the long 10 mile, 20 mile days?
It's an acquired taste. You know, like as you probably remember,
that's
like
why I quit, man.
It's an acquired taste. I hated it in high school.
Yeah, same.
I'm like, this sucks so bad. Like, why am I doing this? I did it because I was good at it, but I hated the training. Then in college, it got a little bit better. It's like, okay, I've been in class for 8 hours. It's nice to go blow off some steam with the guys. You know, running through Oregon was beautiful. And then as a pro, when I had nothing else to do, it was amazing. It's like, wait a minute, you mean that in today's waking day from 8 a.m. to whenever I go to bed, all I have to do is get my workout in and you're going to pay me to do it? Like, it was incredible.
I feel that. And your first couple of years, you were talking earlier, you only made $25,000 a year?
My first contract with Nike was right around there.
Wow, and you were stoked.
I was so happy.
That's crazy.
Because coming out of college, I was like, you know, how am I going to pay my bills?
Yeah.
I really want to train, and I'd kind of made this decision, like, I am going to train for the 2008 Olympic Games, even if I have to work at McDonald's to pay my bills. But I had a great senior season, and coming out of college, Nike picked me up on a small contract, and I was so ecstatic because I was like, I can train full time now. I still had to live very simply. It was a very small contract, but I didn't care about money. All I cared was that I could put every ounce of my energy into trying to make the team.
Yeah. Sigma Chi fraternity, man.
Yeah.
How'd you balance that with running?
Not well. That was actually due to an injury. So
Really?
I'd never thought about joining a fraternity, but my sophomore year, I had to have double knee surgery.
Okay.
Cost me my cross country season. Cost me like 6 months of training.
Damn.
And I realized that year that all the friends that I had made were just runners.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to hang out with them right then because I was, going through it real low and didn't want to even talk running. And someone was like, well, join a fraternity. Like you'll have a bunch of instant friends and you can just like not think about running. So I did that. It was a blast. I had fun with it again my junior year, but you could kind of tell it was like getting in the way of my recovery physically, I mean, shoot, I'd put 20 pounds on just drinking beer and lifting weights,
That's
right?
crazy.
So I had to lose all that weight. And then going from my junior to senior year was when I was like, okay, I got 9 months to figure out how I'm going to make a living. And I'd like it to be pro running. I'm going to have to go all in on this idea. So the summer between my junior and senior year, I moved to central Mexico, trained for 3 months with a bunch of Kenyans, pro Kenyans at altitude, learned everything about pro running, came down 20 pounds lighter, and just every time I touched the track, new PR, new PR. And that's when Nike picked me up.
Wow. So training at altitude, you'd credit that to helping you a lot, right?
Still to this day, like altitude, weight will melt off me. Like if I ever have a problem with my weight, I'll just go live at altitude for 2 or 3 months and it melts off me.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I'd train at like 168 during the year, but then I'd go to Flagstaff, Arizona every April for 4 weeks and I'd come down 10 pounds lighter.
Holy crap. That makes sense. When NBA teams go to Denver to play, they're out of breath.
Oh yeah.
They can't play.
That's only 5,000 feet, right?
Only 5,000.
I mean, we were training at Flagstaff at 7 and I would train at Toluca at 9.
Holy crap.
Like the higher the better for me.
That's insane.
And it's hard. I mean, you feel like you're out of breath the whole time and your times suck, but
you're
building red blood cells, the weight's melting off you, you come down to sea level and you can almost like taste the air. It's like breathing syrup. You're like, there's so many oxygen molecules. This is incredible. And then you just crush workouts.
I feel that. When I go to Jersey, it feels like so different, the air out there, because out here in the desert, there's no trees.
Yeah, and it's thinner. It's thinner air.
It's definitely thinner. You mentioned beers in college. You ran the beer mile.
Yeah, I like the beer
5:19.
mile. Yeah. So for those that don't know what the beer mile is, you drink a beer from an unmodified 12-ounce can or bottle. Then you run a lap, and you got to do that 4 times. So 4 beers, 4 laps. My best, I did it like 2 weeks after the Olympic Games in 12, and I ran 5:19.
Crazy.
Which at the time was an American record, which has gone and been destroyed since then.
Someone beat it?
Oh, yeah. There are people doing like 430, 420 miles now, beer miles.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Did you throw up?
I didn't. You get disqualified if you throw up.
Really?
And you're just wasting good beer. So, yeah. It's a fun buzz because, not recommending that anyone do this, but as the adrenaline wears off, the alcohol in your system goes up. And so like you have this like...
Yeah. Did you feel drunk by the 3rd lap?
No, you don't feel it at all.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it's not enough time, and you're just full of adrenaline.
Okay.
So you don't feel the alcohol at all. Even when you finish, you're like, oh man, that's crazy. And
you don't feel it after?
You don't feel the alcohol.
What?
10 minutes after, you're spinning.
Oh, okay.
Just spinning.
4 beers
Yeah.
in 10 minutes is in under 10 minutes.
Yeah, I haven't done it since, I don't know when the last one was. I don't know, a few years back. They're not fun. They're miserable. Don't do them.
Yeah. It sounds fun on paper. You're like, oh, let's do this, guys. But then you do it and
you're miserable.
I did it in high school with my track team and we all threw up and
you're
shit.
like burping and like foam everywhere and it's nasty.
Are you drinking when you hike? When you hike the mountains?
Never. Yeah. I'm 40 years old. Like I enjoy whiskey, enjoy a gin and tonic here and there. I still drink beer. When I'm on a mountain, I'm like in a different zone. And some of these aren't like, afternoon hikes, which I do. I love those too. And I might have a beer on one of those. But when you're climbing one of these big mountains, it's not just out hiking. You're surviving. So on Denali, when I go to Denali, a plane will fly me into the glacier, and I'll have 3 or 4 weeks worth of supplies that are in my backpack and on a sled behind me.
Damn.
And that pilot's not coming back for 3 or 4 weeks.
So you're alone?
No, I'll be with a crew.
Okay.
I'm gonna climb with a guide and a couple other climbers. But the plane's not coming back to get you for 3 or 4 weeks, so you got to survive.
So you can't even back out.
There's no way. There's not please come pick me up. There's no
There's no service.
There's no service. There's not come get me. We carry sat phones with us, so if something went really bad, they'd helicopter in and get you.
Wow.
But yeah, for the most part, you're on your own out there.
Dude, that's nuts.
And so you're really thinking about more as survival than you're thinking about out having a good time.
So you're a little adrenaline junkie.
Yeah, it's I suppose someone would call it that.
Yeah.
I'm an adventure junkie.
Feel that. My friend
I'm hopelessly addicted to adventures, big and small.
Love it.
Yeah.
My friend Mike Posner, he's a music
Yeah,
artist.
I know Mike.
Oh, you know Mike?
He climbed Everest.
Yeah.
I went on a retreat with him in Poland to see Wim Hof about 3 or 4 years ago.
Sick. Yeah. He said it took 2 months, I think.
Yeah.
I was like, holy.
Everest takes for next year, if I do it, it'll be 2 months door to door. So it's like
Crazy.
April 1 to June 1.
Yeah, and he said there was an avalanche one day, and he almost died.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, no, he's incredible.
Man, what a story. And he walked across the country.
Yeah. That's what kind of got him into mountaineering a little
Yeah.
bit. Was he's like, I just love walking. So,
I actually want to climb a mountain now. You're inspiring.
what do you
me.
want to climb?
I got to start small.
So for those listening, this 50 state high point thing is the most incredible way to dip your toes in, because everyone in America, at least, lives next to one, because
Right.
there's 50 states and you live in one of those states and that state has a high point. And you could go to Florida right now and just drive to it. You could go to Mount Sunflower, I think, was that Kansas? And just drive to it. So a lot of these you can just drive up.
Okay.
But that's an adventure in and of itself.
Just
right?
driving?
Just driving and seeing the country. And then if you wanted to like branch out a little bit, you know, like Mount Rogers, I think, is Virginia. That's a great hike. Mount Marcy up in New York is a great hike.
Wow.
And then if you really want to push yourself, Mount Hood, Mount Whitney, Boundary Peak here in Nevada, Rainier. I mean,
Yeah.
Rainier is a 3-day like glaciated mountain. That's
Dang.
very, very tough.
Which one was the hardest for you so far?
Hood took 3 tries.
Which state is that in?
That's Oregon.
Oregon. Okay.
Hood took 3 tries because I was really a novice, and I was like, "I'll just go hike it." You can't hike Hood. You got to
Yeah.
like know what you're doing.
It's super steep.
Super steep, and like you can only climb it for like a couple months out of the year. And I was off season, like these rocks were raining down, and I'm like, I'm gonna freaking die here.
Wow.
So I had to like actually start learning about the mountains and researching them and best practices. And I took a mountaineering course, and so like as you get better and better, you like kind of know how to predict the
Nice.
mountains. Montana was Granite Peak. That was brutal. But
Montana.
sometimes I make them more difficult than they need to be. Like I did Rainier in 24 hours. No one should ever do that. You should like take time and
Oh, so these
acclimate.
take days.
Some of them.
Okay.
Yeah, I did Whitney in 24 hours too. That was horrible.
Wow.
So,
Just straight, no sleep? Or
yeah, just
Wow, you're an animal.
well, that was how I used to be. Now I'm like slow and steady
Yeah.
wins this race.
Yeah.
You should climb though. I mean, if you
I'm
wanted,
down.
if you wanted to like just go out and climb Boundary Peak's not far from you. That's a nice one. That's Nevada's highest.
I'll try it out, man. I've been to Red Rock.
Red Rock's
I don't know if
beautiful.
you've hiked
yeah,
there,
yeah.
but
I ran around there.
Oh,
It's
yeah?
nice.
You ran
really
there.
nice.
Jesus.
Well, when you're a pro runner and the coach gives you a run, like you got to get it done, even if you're in Vegas.
Yeah.
You got to go out.
Any crazy running stories? Because I've got a couple, actually.
I want to hear yours.
I mean, not as crazy as yours, but I rolled my ankle so bad once,
Yeah.
and I was 7 miles out.
Oh,
So I had to
yikes.
limp 7 miles back to my high school training facility.
Brutal.
Crazy.
No cell phone.
No
like-
cell phone, dude.
yeah.
Any stories like that for you?
Well, one at Red Rocks.
Yeah.
So I was out here. I can't remember what it was for, some meeting, but I was still pro runner. And coach was like, hey, you need to get your long run in. And he's like, I want you to do 10. No more. No more than 10. And so someone's like, oh, go to Red Rocks. It's beautiful. So I went out there and like, I'm kind of like eyeballing it on the map. And I'm like, okay, from here to there is like 10-mile loop.
Yeah.
And so I just turn my GPS watch on. I start running from my car. And I get to 10 miles and I'm still a long ways away from my car. And I'm like, coach said no more than 10, like 12 isn't that much more. So I ran another 2 miles and my car's still nowhere to be seen. And I'm like, if I don't like, this could end up being an 18-mile run. I could injure
Jeez.
myself if I'm not careful.
Yeah.
And so I just start hitchhiking. I used to
Oh,
hitchhike a
no.
lot when I was a kid.
You
So
serious?
I'm like kind of used to it. And but I'm just like, I'm literally just in little shorty shorts like we run in. I don't have a shirt on. I'm just in shorty shorts, freezing my ass off in like the Nevada winter out there. And I'm holding my thumb up and this Prius rolls up. And they're like, are you okay? I'm like, I'm parked just on the other side of the loop. Like I've already run 12. I don't think I can get to my car. And they're like, hop in. And they start driving me and they're like, dude, it's really dangerous. You shouldn't be doing this. And I'm like, oh, I used to do it all the time when I was a kid in Idaho.
Yeah.
And they're like, Idaho? We're from Boise. And turns out that the guy driving the car had worked for my dad. So
No
it was like
way.
a super small world.
Dude,
Yeah.
What are the odds? And that was in
Yeah.
Vegas.
It was just outside Vegas.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're like,
so
oh yeah, we
random.
just drove down here for the week to like to climb a little bit.
Wow.
So they got me to my car and they're like, please don't hitchhike anymore.
Damn.
Like, don't tell my dad.
That's crazy. You ever get hit by a car running?
No, thank God, because I know some people that have.
Yeah, that was
I know
always
some
my-
cyclists too.
Oh,
Like,
yeah?
people just texting and driving. And
Oh, yeah. These days, yeah, it's got to be.
I think I always say this. They're like, because I'm a pilot and a mountain climber, and they're like, aren't you worried about the risks that you take? I'm like, not even close to the risk that I take when I'm road biking.
Really?
I think road bike, and I'm a super safe road biker.
Yeah.
I think road cycling might be the most dangerous thing that
Seriously?
I do. Because not because if I was just doing it on a green belt, that'd be fine. But if you do it on a road with drivers who aren't paying attention, statistically, that is a very, very dangerous thing to do.
Right. My coach always made us run towards the
Traffic.
Traffic.
Yeah, so you can see them coming, and you can
Right.
kind of like tell if they're.
Yeah, he would get pissed if he ever saw us like running with traffic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You miss it?
I do miss running, but like you said, a lot of damage on the joints.
Yeah, it's hard.
So I don't know.
Especially at your
long-term-
size, man.
Yeah. I got injured all the time running, dude.
You running Rutgers?
I ran in high school. I could have ran in Rutgers, but I liked partying a bit too much.
Yeah. My sister was a state champ in soccer and cross country and track.
Damn.
And everybody wanted to recruit her. And she's like, no, I think I'm just going to go enjoy college. Because she saw how much work I was doing.
Yeah.
She's my little sister. And she's like, yeah, I don't know if I want to do that.
Wow.
And I'm like, you're so smart.
So how much of that is genetics versus hard work in your family?
I mean, genetics obviously plays a role. Everyone always asks me that, can you not become an Olympian just with hard work? I'm like,
Probably not.
Probably not. You have to have some genetic gift.
Yeah.
So
your parents were pretty solid.
they were great athletes. Yeah. Not like Olympians, but they were good athletes. But then I know a lot of people who were genetically more gifted than me that just wouldn't do the work. So you have to have both parts to reach that upper level. You have to be genetically gifted, and then you have to work your ass off to, as I called it, like realize the gift.
Yeah.
I used to say I was born with a lottery ticket, but the only way I can cash it in is by running 10 miles every day.
Yeah.
That's how I viewed it.
So how many days did you do that straight, 10 miles?
I mean, I averaged 10 miles a day for 15, 20 years.
Holy crap. No days off?
We took 2 weeks off every year. And like I would take out days off occasionally. So I say we average 10 miles a day, but like, sometimes I'd call coach up and be like, coach, I can't. I'm like, I physically can't get out of bed after yesterday's workout. Like I'm spent.
Yeah.
And he'd be like, okay, go aqua jog for an hour instead.
Right. Good old
or
aqua jog.
sometimes he would say you can take a day off, but I really don't believe in scheduling days off at that level because what if you feel great? Save the days for when you really need them.
Got it.
The only time we'd really schedule time off is at the end of a season. A season would run through mid-September. And then if you were trying to like get yourself ready for another 50-week cycle, you just take 2 weeks totally off.
Damn.
And I would just
crazy.
drink beer and go fishing. And
For
then
2 weeks.
Then I'd be like, okay, I think I'm ready to train
Back
again.
to it. And what mile per minute pace for the 10 miles were you running at?
If it was a long run, like a progression run, might start at like 7-minute miles, work your way down to like 6-minute miles.
Damn.
But sometimes, like an evening run, because I would do doubles a lot, run in the morning and the evening. Sometimes in the evenings, I'd do 4 miles just listening to music at like 8 minute per mile pace.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah, just time on your feet.
That sounds pretty doable.
It's doable.
Yeah.
So a lot of times I'd invite people, I was dating into my 20s, and I'd be like, yeah, let's go for a run. They're like, I'm going to run with you. I'm like, I'm serious. Like, you'll like this. And we would just go out and go for like, 30-minute stroll around Priest Trail at 8-minute pace. It was really easy. And they didn't get invited to like the track workout the next day, but like, I had a lot of friends that were just casual runners that I'd run with in the evenings.
And did you train alone or did you have someone
I had
that
a
could
team.
keep up? Okay.
Yeah, I was lucky for 8 years with Nike. I had the Oregon Track Club Elite in Eugene. And then I moved to Seattle when I started running for Brooks, and I ran with the Brooks Beasts. And I always felt, I didn't mind training on my own. I was one of those people that like I can train on my own. I just loved having a team around me. There's so much more energy and more support, and
it's easier.
just more
I feel
fun.
like. When I go to the gym alone and lift, it feels longer.
Yeah.
Same with the sauna.
Yeah.
Like when I have people to talk to, it just goes by quicker.
Yeah, just have fun. Like what could be more fun than being outdoors with your friends? Like especially as runners on those easy runs, you're running slow enough. We called it conversational pace.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna go run for an hour, it'd be more fun to run with the guys and talk about anything you want to talk about. And just chill.
I want to end off with Run Gun, man. You built quite an empire there.
Yeah, it was great. I was the founder and CEO for 7 years, 7 years. And then I kind of woke up one day and I was like, I don't want to be the CEO anymore. So I hired my replacement.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's still the CEO, and I just am a silent investor, basically.
Nice.
I loved it. Again, kind of like talk about just like laying awake at night, like dreaming about things.
Yeah.
There was a time there as my running career was winding down, and I'd just be like, I want to create a business so bad. But after leading it for 6 years, I just wanted to go do something else. And that's been really the story of my career is like I get really into something and I go all in, and I find because I go all in, I find success, and I just love it and hammer it to death until I'm over it, and then I move on to the next thing. And I've kind of done that for 20 years now.
That's how I am. I think it's a new era. I think with our parents, they had the same job their whole lives.
Yeah.
And some of them didn't like it, but they didn't want to
They just grinded.
Yeah, because of the benefits or whatever.
Yeah.
But now we're in an age where you can just do a bunch of different things.
Well, and you also have to think about living for like 100 years, right? So like the Japanese have this term, I'm going to mess it up, ikigai, which is like your reason for being. And they don't have the word retirement.
Wow.
Which I love. There shouldn't be. I think we should just get this idea of retirement out of our vernacular. Like we shouldn't even use the word. It's like, what are you going to go to next? You don't have to you could quit your 9 to 5, but don't retire. Just move into the next thing.
Agreed.
It doesn't necessarily have to be making money. It could be volunteering. It could be growing vegetables. I don't know. But like, I don't ever want to retire. I just want to move on to the next thing. So I'm going to keep making YouTube videos, but when the day comes that I don't want to make a YouTube video, I'll need to move into the next thing. And I just want to keep pursuing my passions until I die. And
100% agree.
I'll feel like that was a great life, right?
No, that was
You're obviously living the same lifestyle.
Dude, I'll never retire because this is fun to me.
Yeah.
Like just having conversations with the people that are the best at what they do.
You got struck by lightning.
Yeah, dude. It's one of the best jobs ever, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Being a content creator.
You're a great one.
Yeah. Thank you so much, man. Where can people find out what you're up to, man?
You know, I plugged things for 20 years. I plugged shoes. I plugged Run Gum. I plugged my YouTube channel. I'm on a break. So like you can go check me out on Instagram or nicksymmonds.com, but you're not going to see anything for a few months. If you do want to follow along this story of the mountaineering, you know, and trying to climb Denali, that video will drop early July. Right now we're scheduling it for July 1.
Nice.
And it'll be cinematic. It'll be stunning. And you'll find out if I have what it takes to get to the top of the tallest mountain in North America. I don't think I do. I'm just going to say that right now.
Okay.
I don't think I have what it takes to get to the top of this mountain. I've struggled at altitude. I'm working my butt off, dude. I'm training 7 days a week.
Damn.
Like I'm gonna do everything possible to find success on that mountain.
Wow.
And then, you know, it is there isn't there. So.
I think with the cameras on, it adds more pressure to you. So
yeah, and I respond well to pressure. So.
I love it, man. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. See you tomorrow.
Awesome.